I got a noise complaint for being too quiet in my own apartment. I had moved in 4 months earlier, right after my husband died. I picked the quietest building I could find. No music, no television, just books, tea, and silence, because silence was the only thing that did not remind me of him. So when my landlord called about a noise complaint on my unit, I actually thought it was a mistake. He read it out loud. Resident in Unit 4B plays disturbing sounds at all hours, loud crying, wailing, talking to someone who is not there. My face went hot. The crying was real. I cried most nights. Sometimes I talked to my husband, even though he was gone, because it was the only way I could fall asleep. I explained this to my landlord. He said, I understand, but the other residents have a right to peace as well. Try to keep it down. Keep it down. My grief was apparently too loud. The complaint came from Portia, next door in 4A, sharing my bedroom wall. The next morning, she knocked with a tight little smile. I am a really light sleeper. If you could keep the nighttime stuff to a minimum, that would be great. I told her I had just lost my husband. She nodded like I had told her the weather. That is really sad. But we all have things going on. That night, I pressed my face into my pillow and cried as quietly as I could. I bit down on the fabric until I tasted cotton. My husband used to hold me when I cried, always suffocating myself into a pillow so a stranger would not be inconvenienced. Over the following weeks, Portia made monitoring me her mission. A cabinet closed too hard, and 2 taps hit the wall. A signal. I started walking on my toes in my own apartment. I stopped using the microwave after 9 at night since the beep bothered her. I ate cold soup over the sink at midnight since heating it made noise. I was shrinking myself into nothing so she could have perfect silence while I drowned in mine. Then she started running a white noise machine against our shared wall, loud enough that static hummed through the drywall all night. When I asked her to lower it, she said, I would not need it if you were not so loud. I have not made a sound. She crossed her arms. I can hear you breathing through the wall. My existence had become the noise complaint. She filed a second one, told the landlord I was engaging in disturbing behavior, and did not feel safe. He said one more complaint, and he would start eviction. I was about to lose my home, because a woman next door did not like the sound of my sadness. That night, I did not cry. I did not speak to my husband. I lay in complete silence. 20 minutes later, 2 taps hit the wall. I had not made a single sound. She was tapping anyway. She wanted me to know she was listening, even when there was nothing to hear. That was the night I stopped being sad, and started paying attention. Portia worked from home. I could hear every call through the same wall she claimed carried my breathing, so I started writing it all down. Every call, every blender run at 6 in the morning. Every Sunday her music vibrated my picture frames. Every argument with her boyfriend Nico, loud enough for full sentences. 6 weeks, 47 entries, with dates and times. I pulled the lease. Section 12 stated that any resident filing 2 or more unsubstantiated complaints could face mediation review and lease termination for harassment. The building also prohibited excessive noise at any hour. Every blender run, every argument, every white noise machine at full volume, all of it was a violation. I submitted my documentation with 3 sentences attached. I have been documenting noise from Unit 4A for 6 weeks. Attached are 47 recorded incidents. I would also like to formally report that the resident in 4A has been filing false complaints as targeted harassment. My landlord called 2 days later. Portia was placed on formal warning. The complaints filed against me were expunged completely. The white noise machine stopped that night. The wall taps stopped. The knocking stopped. A week later, she caught me in the hallway. You reported me for what? Living? I looked at her calmly. Funny. That is exactly what I was doing when you reported me. You are being petty. You tried to evict a widow for crying. I think we have very different definitions of petty. You should have kept it down. You filed a complaint because you could hear me breathing. I said, there is no down from breathing. She opened her mouth. Nothing came out.